Welcome back to Partnerships Unraveled, the podcast where we unravel the mysteries about channels and partnerships on a weekly basis. My name is Efe, and I'm excited to introduce our guest, Signe. Signe, how are you doing?
Thank you so much. I am doing very well. It's Friday. Everything's good.
It is Friday, and I also love your background as well. It's so good to see some colors, especially today. It's been so foggy and dark outside. It's kind of so nice to see some color.
And this background actually always, is an icebreaker because a lot of people comment on it because it has so many colors. But I love colors. It's perfect.
I love it.
It reflects my personality a little bit.
Yeah, I love the jacket as well. The blue suits you well.
Thank you.
Well, Signe, for those who may not be familiar with who you are, could you give us an introduction? Tell us who you are, where you come from.
Absolutely. So obviously my name is Signe. I work for Microsoft and I have been doing that for 13 years now, I believe it is. And the past 6-7 years, I've been working with ISV partners in one format or another. Started in our partner organization working with ISVs, but more for our mid segment. Then moved into being an enterprise channel manager, working both in industry, retail, but also with Azure directly. All, ISVs that were on Azure were interesting at that point. Then I moved into being a partner development manager, working with some of our local ISVs. And today I work as a partner solution sales manager, working with our global ISVs and try to help them sell to the Danish enterprise customers.
Amazing. We have a lot of ISVs listening to us that are, working with partners, or they want to, develop that relationship with Microsoft, kind of learn how to better upsell. So I'm really excited for this conversation. And correct me if I'm wrong, Signe, but you started Microsoft fresh out of college. It was your first job and you've been there for 12 years. How has that been journey like for you? What kept you there for so long?
So you're completely right. Normally I say I was born and raised in Microsoft because I don't know what the world looks like outside of Microsoft. But it's not the same company as it was 12 years ago. And that's probably the reason why I've stayed. I like the fast pace. I like that we are front runners when it comes to technology. And to be honest, I love working with partners. I think, I always wanted to be part of startups or smaller companies. I'm not part of that. I'm part of a global company, but I get that feeling working with some of our ISVs. So that's really amazing.
Well, amazing. And you've been recommended to us by one of our previous guests, Rasmus, who is the CEO of Zensai. You managed Zensai, you supported their growth from the Microsoft side. And, Zensai is, they're growing really fast. They're a fast growing startup, but they're quite different than I imagine than for you to manage Zensai and to manage a larger player such as Adobe and Snowflake. I want to kind of get into the differences of how you see, what is it like for you managing organizations at different stage of their growth curve?
Yeah, you can say that those partners that I'm managing today, they are, in the very top, they're completely developed, which also means that I'm not really supporting them in that aspect. I'm supporting them in connecting with the Danish market and selling to the Danish market. Of course, Microsoft are also launching the marketplace a couple of years back, but it's still new to some customers and to some partners as well, even the global ones. So we're also trying to, make both the local and the global partners sell through the marketplace.
I imagine both to be, quite different, but also still very challenging and enjoyable in different aspects. When we had a conversation before, Signe, you really iterated, talked about the importance of seller to seller alignment. I know this is a thing that also, on leaders' minds on the ISV side as well. How do we kind of build that seller to seller alignment? Can you walk us through from your perspective what a great causal motion actually looks like?
Yeah, so I've been trying a lot of things during my my time at Microsoft, and some things work and some things doesn't work. The bigger groups where a partner are talking, without having concrete opportunities, it rarely works. But sitting down with an opportunity, that the partner actually brought to Microsoft, but building success around that opportunity
Mhm.
will most likely stick with our sellers more, so that when they go to another customer, they will keep that opportunity and that partner in mind. And that's where, the magic actually happens. But of course, there's a
Mhm.
huge difference from the smaller startups to the bigger ones, because with the smaller ISVs, Microsoft has another presence, another brand with the customers. So going with the seller to seller alignment, but also going to the customers together, branding that ISV together with Microsoft is actually also quite powerful.
Yeah, I imagine to kind of tell that better together, that aligned story is so important. And you kind of talked about, once a rep sees a deal close, I feel like getting that first closure is challenging. But once that happens, then that's where kind of the next step begins. Because once that happens, the solution stakes in the seller's mind much better, and it's easier to cross sell the next time. How do you kind of help partners to get to that first win?
Um, Trust is extremely important. With some of the bigger ones, we are at some point competitors as well, but
Mhm.
keeping in mind for our sales rep that it's a matter of winning the platform, not the product. As long as things run on Azure, then, we gain something from it. But building trust together is super important. And that's not something that happens, after one meeting.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's even more difficult with the global ones, because then you have a sales rep sitting maybe in another country, and building trust on a Teams meeting is just different than when you can sit down in a meeting room, looking each other in the eyes, and then talk a little bit, about things that are not necessarily business related as well.
Mhm.
Um, so that's something that we're really trying to do. But it's, yeah, sometimes it can be challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine. I love in this podcast we always like the importance of trust always comes up with partnerships and
Yeah.
channel, and I love that you kind of start speaking about it as well. You mentioned being there in person, showing up, but also spending time a little bit to talk about things outside of work that really helps you build trust. Is there any other kind of approaches, tips, or tricks that you have in your book to kind of help build that trust? I also imagine that you kind of lean on the brand trust, like the brand of Microsoft as well, because it's such a reputable company that everyone knows.
Sure, we do that towards the partners, of course, but with the bigger global ones, it's not, as important as it is with some of the more local ones. Um, yeah. But again, we can sit down on a one-on-one motion, but that's not
Mhm.
really scalable. What we
Mhm.
also sometimes do is book meetings with some of our sales rep, getting everybody together in the room. The global ISVs are developing really fast as well. So,
Yeah.
a partner like ServiceNow, they're not just a ticketing system. They do a lot with AI and automation, getting our sales reps to change their mindset around what our ISV partners can actually do for their customers, and then maybe doing, use cases as well that they can
Mhm.
copy paste directly to their customers as well. That's more
Yeah.
scalable.
Yeah, I imagine also a lot of the time you spend is kind of running enablement sessions with these ISVs, their sellers. You also talked about, lunch and learn, solution overviews, these kind of things
Exactly.
to build that trust and also kind of align on the value and why we're doing this partnership. Maybe what's your advice to partners on also how to make these, lunch and learn or solution overview sessions to really count with Microsoft?
Again, proving that you do have presence in the market is always good. Having use cases that are present within that market. So, we can do enablement sessions for our cloud and AI team where we hit a lot broader, but we can also do it on a more industry based level, so that we, for example, do it with FSI or directly to retail, and then having cases that are directly into that industry. But it's really important that it's not, this is Denmark. We don't need a case from the US because that market is so much different, and our sales reps have more difficulties relating to wins like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like you touched upon that because we also kind of this is something that I'm really passionate about, that importance of localization, because oftentimes when companies, they have their headquarters in US and they think that whatever they do they send it abroad, and they think that people are just gonna react in the same way that they do in the US. But a lot of times also here at Chenex, we're talking to a lot of partners in the Netherlands, in Europe, UK, even in UK, right? It's the same language, but sometimes like partners will get back to us and be like, "Oh, this sounds quite American.
Yeah.
This is not how we would say it around here." So I think this is something really important for, I think, everyone listening to rethink about, if you're in the US, kind of go out there, talk with like partners around the world, and see how they react to maybe your campaigns, your messaging, and all that,
But it's
and
so
you'll see that
different.
it's quite different. It is different.
It's so different in the US. I mean, we're also getting material around marketplace directly from the US. And I look at it and it's like 80 slides of marketing things. But then I pick, a little bit of it, and then I make it a little more friendly for the Danish customers. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, you got to know your
Yeah.
market.
Yeah, I think like it's kind of like maybe good to have an overview. You have a lot, and you can kind of distill it into something that fits more to your local region.
Yes.
Um, maybe a couple last questions for you, Sina. Maybe one thing that I want to ask for our audience, for all the ISVs listening to us, is what's one piece of advice you would give to ISVs looking to co-sell more effectively with Microsoft?
Get your solution on marketplace. I mean,
Amazing.
right now it's all about marketplace, and it can be challenging if you're not aware of what the marketplace is, how it works. But we're really trying to simplify that first sale, both from the customer side and from the partner side, so that they get through the first sale. And we try to take notes. What was difficult? Is there something we can change? Um, is something not really working the way it should? And then, looking into the roadmap as well, what is actually coming of features, of integrations. But the marketplace is definitely a place to be, not only to co-sell with Microsoft, but there's also a possibility to get a whole new sales channel and actually, get more deals out there with the marketplace.
Yeah, amazing. It's crazy how fast, marketplaces have grown, how much Microsoft has grown over the last years, and I'm really excited to see where it's headed in the next few years. I think you have a really exciting and interesting job, and thank you so much for joining us. My last question to you, Sine, is, we always end the episode by asking our guests to nominate the next guest on a podcast. Who do you have in mind?
So Rasmus recommended me. Rasmus has a lot of energy. I think I have a lot of energy as well.
You definitely
So,
do.
I want to recommend someone who's also energetic. And I think Mari Lundeveld from Rubric would be a really good addition to this podcast. She has energy and she has great insights into, partnerships and how to work with Microsoft as well. Even the enablement session that they did with us, that was an amazing session that she probably can talk a lot more about, that other ISVs out there would benefit from.
Amazing. Well, Murray, if you're listening, I'll be reaching out to you and hope we can get you on a podcast to talk about the amazing enablement session you did. And Sinan, once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
It
you.
was a really valuable, important conversation, and see you in the next episode.
See you. Thank you.